A strange pattern has been appearing in recent years. People make more money and then they buy better coffee, better mattresses, meal delivery, house cleaning services, airport lounge access, noise-canceling headphones, shorter commutes, faster shipping, extra convenience, extra quiet, extra time. At first glance, it seems completely ordinary. People have always used money to improve their lives. But something about these purchases feel different. Historically, success was supposed to become visible. A larger house, a nicer car, a luxury watch, a prestigious neighborhood, something that could be seen, something that could be displayed, something that communicated status. Success was external, public, recognizable. People wanted others to know they had made it. And for a long time, that made sense. Status signaled achievement, security, position, importance. The formula felt straightforward. Work harder, earn more, upgrade your lifestyle, display the result. But increasingly, many people who earn more money are not primarily trying to display success. They are trying to reduce friction. That distinction matters, because friction is not really a financial concept. It is a psychological one. The long commute, the crowded calendar, the endless notifications, the administrative task, the small interruptions that somehow fill entire days. None of these seems dramatic individually, yet they accumulate, and eventually people begin adapting, not financially, psychologically. Because many people are no longer asking, what would impress other people? They are asking, what would make life feel lighter? That is a very different question, and perhaps a more revealing one. Because increasingly, people are not buying luxury, they are buying relief. Relief from pressure. Relief from complexity, relief from friction, relief from the feeling that ordinary life requires constant negotiation. That may be one of the most important psychological shifts happening beneath modern life. Because relief only becomes valuable when pressure becomes abundant. And pressure has become remarkably abundant. Not dramatic pressure, not catastrophe, something quieter. The pressure of maintaining modern life itself. The pressure of keeping everything functioning. The pressure of remaining responsive, available, reachable, productive, organized. The pressure of continuity. And continuity is more exhausting than it first appears, because continuity never finishes. You answer today's messages, tomorrow creates more. You complete today's obligations, tomorrow generates new ones. You solve one problem, another arrives. The routine continues, and eventually, something interesting happens. People stop spending money to signal success and start spending money to reduce pressure. But even that explanation may not go far enough, because most people think convenience is about saving time. It isn't. Time is rarely the real product. What people are often buying is attention. The meal delivery is not really about food. It is about removing one more decision from an already crowded day. The house cleaner is not really about cleaning. It is about recovering mental bandwidth. The shorter commute is not really about transportation. It is about reclaiming a piece of life that would otherwise be surrendered to friction. That distinction matters, because modern exhaustion is rarely created by one overwhelming burden. It is created by hundreds of tiny demands competing for attention. Every notification, every password, every appointment, every subscription, every verification code, every email, every reminder, every form, every update, every decision. Individually, they seem insignificant. Collectively, they become exhausting. Modern life rarely overwhelms people through one impossible burden. It overwhelms them through hundreds of tiny negotiations. Tiny negotiations with systems. Tiny negotiations with technology. Tiny negotiations with schedules. Tiny negotiations with expectation. And eventually, those negotiations begin consuming something valuable: attention. Perhaps the true scarcity of modern life is not time. Perhaps it is uninterrupted attention. And once attention becomes scarce, protecting it becomes valuable, which leads to another shift. Success itself may be changing. Historically, success was associated with visibility. People wanted signs of achievement, proof, recognition, status. Today, success increasingly looks like insulation. The ability to avoid certain pressures altogether. The ability to remain unreachable when necessary. The ability to protect attention, protect energy, protect time, protect mental space. The successful person is no longer always imagined as someone living a larger life. Sometimes they are imagined as someone living a calmer one. Someone whose attention still belongs to them. Someone who is not constantly interrupted, not constantly rushed, not constantly reacting. That image could have sounded strange decades ago. Today it feels increasingly recognizable, because modern life became extraordinarily efficient at creating friction. Not large friction, small friction, the kind that appears harmless. A login code, an alert, an update, a cancellation process, a customer service queue, a forgotten password, a delayed flight, a calendar conflict. None of these experiences seem significant, yet modern life increasingly consists of them. Tiny interruptions, tiny inefficiencies, tiny administrative burdens. Each one takes almost nothing, but together they take something enormous: mental space. And mental space may be one of the most valuable resources people possess, because mental space determines how life feels, not just how life functions. A person can be materially comfortable while feeling mentally overwhelmed. A person can be objectively successful while feeling constantly occupied. A person can appear stable while privately experiencing cognitive exhaustion. That contradiction appears everywhere now. People continue functioning, continue participating, continue succeeding, yet many increasingly describe the same feeling: overwhelmed, not collapse, not crisis, overload. And perhaps overload explains another strange shift. Peace of mind has started behaving like a status symbol, not the traditional kind, not a visible status symbol, an invisible one. Historically, status was what people could see. Today, status may increasingly be what people no longer have to experience. No constant urgency, no endless interruptions, no persistent noise, no chronic overload, no feeling that every moment belongs to something else. That version of success is remarkably different because it is not built around display. It is built around protection. Protection from complexity. Protection from friction. Protection from psychological overload. And perhaps that is why stability increasingly feels luxurious. Something quieter. The luxury of an uncluttered mind. The luxury of predictable routines. The luxury of emotional breathing room. The luxury of waking up without immediately entering negotiation with 20 competing demands. These are not traditional status symbols, yet many people desire them intensely, which suggests something important. People do not simply pursue what is valuable, they pursue what feels scarce, and scarcity appears to be changing. For much of modern history, scarcity was often material. Today, many people possess more than previous generations ever imagined. Yet increasingly, they describe lacking something else: silence, attention, rest, mental space, calm, psychological ease. And once those things become scarce, they begin feeling luxurious. That may be the deeper transformation hiding underneath modern success. People once imagined success as expansion, more visibility, more possessions, more status, more access. Today, many increasingly imagine success as reduction, fewer interruptions, fewer obligations, fewer decisions, fewer pressures, fewer demands competing for attention. Not because ambition disappeared, because pressure accumulated and adaptation changed desire. Humans adapt to environments. Then they begin desiring whatever their environment withholds. And perhaps that is why so many forms of modern success now look surprisingly similar. Not larger, not louder, not more impressive, just lighter. The better mattress, the delivered meal, the shorter commute, the quiet apartment, the recovered hour, the protected weekend. These purchases are not always about comfort. Sometimes they are about relief. Sometimes they are about attention. Sometimes they are about psychological breathing room. And perhaps that is the realization hiding underneath all of it. The things people desire most today may reveal what modern life quietly takes away. Not opportunity, not consumption, not achievement. Something subtler: silence, attention, mental space, the feeling that your mind still belongs to you. And once you notice that pattern, certain things become difficult to unsee. People thought they wanted more success, more achievement, more status, more recognition, but increasingly, many seem to want something else: less pressure, less complexity, less friction, less psychological weight, not because they stopped striving, because modern life became heavier than it appears, and perhaps that is the emotional shift quietly spreading beneath the surface. Many people are no longer trying to upgrade their lives. They are trying to make life feel easier to carry. Success still exists. Achievement still exists. Status still exists. But increasingly, the most expensive thing people are trying to buy is not prestige. It is peace of mind. And perhaps that desire reveals something deeper than success ever could. It reveals what modern life quietly asks people to live without, because the things people desire most today may reveal what modern life quietly takes away.